have to turn that down so we could talk, because every speaker demo I've done in the last 4 months, I wouldn't say 6 months, 4 months, has been demonetized. Hi, I'm Zeospantera. Welcome to the Speaker Corner. And we're here looking at not a set of speakers, not this, which I reviewed, which is no longer available, which is a listen to it. It's a nice relay clicking volume control. No, we're here to talk about that, which you can't see because it's far away and I'm in a super weird format. That is an Accuphase A-46 Japanese-made vintage hi-fi stereo amplifier. And if I change tracks, it only use about 5 seconds of each. Game of Thrones, by the way. Light of the Seven. And that's all I could play. We need to talk about, first of all, hold on, take the camera off my head and I'm gonna get up close. Now let's talk about beauty, because we've got beautiful VU meters. Can I get this light to turn? I shocked myself, it's fine. If you can see, these are indeed glowing. Get in, provide a little bit of shade. The way I have the GoPro set up currently, it's very dark. Please don't shock myself again, but those are indeed glowing, beautiful VU meters with this bronze gold front. And did we even talk about girth yet? So, heat sinks. Massive reinforced heat sinks. I think it weighs 70 pounds? 71, 70. It weighs not a little, but a lot. And when you're done looking at the front, because the front's really what makes people like, oh God, I want vintage Accuphase. I want A and B speaker outputs. I want a balanced amplifier with bridge mode. There's your selection, here's your volume knob, there's your input. When you look at the back though, this is when the real fanboys go, ugh. And I should bring a flashlight over here. Look at the size of these 5-way binding posts. That's the size of my thumb. And they're individually there and you can unscrew them. I'm using bananas in the back, obviously. And there's 2 sets, because this amplifier itself has A and B speakers. When I went looking on eBay to try to bring up, you know, I'd like to show a listing because I'm gonna have to link to eBay. When I brought this up, all I could find is the Accuphase A-45, which only has a single output, doesn't have A and B. And then I saw this, because I didn't buy this. Someone else bought this, sent it to me. And then I saw where it's from, located in Tokyo. And I'm like, oh. So you're the better version. And what I'm gonna do now is probably pull this out of here. I wanna take this top off and show you the innards, because the owner gave me permission to do that. They also gave me permission to try to fix a problem that happened in shipping, where I'll show you the front before I move on. Sorry if I sound weird. Oh, God, it's pretty. Here's your input select between XLR and RCA, because it has both. Very rare for a vintage power amp. This is a power amp. Here's a gain control, not a volume control. You get a choice of -12, -6, -3, and max. I'm at -12, which means if I turn my volume knob up here, which it was all the way up, which is a terrible idea. If I turn my volume knob over here, that is as loud as I can make it go, because I have that limited to only -12. If I were to click this up another notch, which by the way, hold on, let me see if I can get this. Then this would be much more sensitive. And the Blue Card S400s, which is what these are I would say Danish made, but the S400s are actually made in China, designed in Denmark. Can you see that speaker? I may have to change settings in the GoPro. Yeah, anyway, these are what I'm powering currently, and using the B channel out into my Martin Logan Dynamo 400. So I don't want to have a subwoofer with them. I would simply turn that off. And that amplifier is not powering that subwoofer. That is a powered subwoofer, self-powered subwoofer. I'm just feeding the B channel signal to it in case you want a little more gusto. So let me go grab a star key. T something. Looks like about a T20. And let's go take the top off of this thing. I've let it now adjust the ISO up to 1600, which will probably make it really grainy and bad if I'm in the dark. But I've taken all the screws out of the top. And I didn't finish reviewing the front. I should have realized this was the input, the gain, the input, the power click, click, on, off. Speakers A and B. A is currently set to the Bucarts. B is set to the Martin Logan. And then this last thing is a meter adjustment. So the VU meters, which I will film working, I'll put on Epic Score, something that I can actually play. This has off 0 dB and -20. So off means the meters don't work. And I believe the lights actually go off too. And then 0 is, you know, hit 0 at rated power, which we'll talk about rated power, because it's less than you think, but it's Class A. So it's enough. And then the -20 will bring the, if you're pushing into a very weak signal or very high signal, I forget how that works. Anyway, this switch on shipping got pushed in. Still functions. If I turn it, I can feel the wires going and then it clicks. But I'm going to try to open it up top and bottom and get the face off and adjust that for the owner before I ship it out to him, which is all the way in California. Which, thank you for supporting this channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. Your money helps me pay to ship things back to people who send it to me. If I tell you how much, like, you could tell this is like, there's the regular metal. That's what every other amp would have. They've painted this. They've dull painted it. I just love that feeling. Let's put this down on something or lean it against something here. And then let's get down on our fucking knees. Oh, I want to dust that off so bad, but that is a rather large power transformer currently running. The amplifier is not off. And just dusting that off feels like how I die, so I'm not going to. I'll resist the urge and then maybe stop the camera and then get a fucking dust mop. But you could always tell a vintage amplifier, not just by the toroidal transformer, but by the capacitors. Look at the fucking size of those. Not quite as big as my father's Spec 2, but then again, this is not as powerful. The wattage, drum roll please. 45 watts per channel. 8 ohms, 45 watts a channel. It is actually switchable to monaural, and you can get you can monoblock this. This is so warm down here, by the way. It's 55 in this room because it's the basement and it's winter. But I've had this running for like 4 hours. And if you don't know how Class A works, I'll give a quick rundown while I'm on my knees. Class A works by, instead of like a modern amplifier like an AB, will wait for a signal to come in and then ramp up the power, push it out, and the signal goes away and the power drops. It makes the amps much more efficient. Not quite Class D efficient, but that's what we've been using since the, you know, dawn of time. Well, since the 80s and 90s, Class AB became a thing. Class A is just ramp up the power as soon as you plug it in, no matter what the fuck's going on or what's playing. So if you plug in this amplifier and you don't play music, it's using the same amount of electricity, which is a lot, that it would be if you were blasting music for 15 hours straight. It makes no difference. Don't forget to turn this unit off, or make sure you have solar panels in your house so that you could actually afford to run this. So I get to write off my electric bill as part of it. So that's why it's been on here running, just getting up to a nice thermal temp, just nice. I've got a soft spot for Japanese built things, but I really have a hard spot for Japanese built things, which I can't show you here on YouTube. Subscribe to my OnlyFans, which doesn't exist. I don't think people would pay for it anyway, but I tried to and it didn't work. I love the little diagram on the power transformer. Also, everything here is labeled Accuphase. Every board, Accuphase Japan, Accuphase Japan, Accuphase Japan. You can see the transistors stapled to the sidewall here. It's literally just that metal. This whole piece is just the side, and they just stuck things to it. There's no going through it. This is the wall. This is the wall. Matek, you could just see when it's Japanese, and they've got the adjustments. It's completely mirrored, and they're using white connectors on that side and black connectors on this side so you don't fuck it up. It's a very simple thing in here, but it's the effort and the cleanliness and just like my friend Dan could probably look at it and go, yeah, that's like $140 in parts. I could build that, except for this being whatever the fuck that is. It's actually a chassis that runs here that hides the 110 wires. So I don't think any of this is 110 I could touch, because the plug on the back, can I rotate this? The setup today, by the way, in case you're interested in that sort of jazz, I've got the Gustard X16, which is one of the highest rated, highest measuring DACs, or lowest measuring DACs for distortion. Is getting fed coaxial digital from that laptop over there out of the ass end of a Songcause SGD1. So that is the DAC. Then the XLR cables go whoop-de-whoop up into this unit. I'm going to lower that down. That goes there. And then it goes back over into the amp, which I'm going to now rotate and see if I can do this without destroying anything. So you can see back here, it's not just plain Jane. We have what look like handles. These are actually standoffs too. You're designed to actually rest this thing on its back, and it won't crush any of the other components because it's so fucking heavy, and it's a lot of that weight is just here and that thing. I mean, it's actually textured too. So the input here is you've got 2 RCAs, 2 XLRs, and then the left one here is labeled bridge. So you can actually, if you were some sort of mad lad in the, what year is this? 70s, 80s? I actually don't know the year of this Accuphase, and I probably should have learned that information beforehand. Vintage, just no vintage. Could even be 90s. There is no date code on this. There's a serial number, K4Y930. Made in Japan. Yeah, there's nothing else that states when it was built, but you can actually bridge 2 of the, you can make this a single channel. Like those are both single channel amplifiers. You have one amplifier, 1 speaker, boom boom, RCA to that side, boom boom. This can be done the same way, just like modern Behringer amplifiers and Crown stuff, but you'd be spending ungodly amounts of money currently to do that. Down here is your switch from dual mono to normal to bridge. I don't know what is dual mono. Oh, it means you put one input in and it just gives you both. That's if you're real crazy school and you want to do a bi-amping. This would just become both things. Instead of 1 output, you'd have 2 outputs of a mono signal. And then you have bridge, and over here you can select which way the balance connection goes. There's a switch that goes 1 ground, then 2 negative, then 3 positive, and then 1 ground, then 2 positive, and 3 negative, which is a less common way that XLR cables were wired. Placard board, Accuphase Laboratories, made in Japan. Claims power consumption is 410 watts, which means that's what it's currently drawing. That's what it's been drawing since I turned it on 5 hours ago. It is just drawing 410 watts. I could play music as loudly or as quietly as I want. It's Class A, fuck you, that's what you get. Here are some Australian-made cables that someone sent me. They're really nice. I can't link you them, you can't buy them. But I've been using them for years. It was like a great gift. If you're gonna gift Zeo something, gift them a set of nice woven red speaker cables. Followed by these nice mica cables, which are just small and easy, and they plug right back in here. Now you can obviously put a normal wire in here if you want to screw this giant, like comically large 5-way binding posts. I don't think I've ever witnessed 5-way binding posts quite as large as these, but these are way up there. And down here is your removable power cable, which makes me believe, I'm using, by the way, the Monoprice hospital grade 15-foot power cord, because it's actually built really well. Makes me believe it's definitely newer than like the 80s, because all of these mega amps from that time period in history had attached cables. I have my father's Spec 2, and I've got over there a, what's the A500 I have over here? Or A400. Just whip this bitch out. Hold on. Oh, God, it's fine. Oh, parts of my body are making crickety crack noises. Phase linear, which is very similar sounding to Accuphase, but this phase linear from, I think this is late 70s. This is a 400 watt total, so 200 watt per channel. I think it's Class A. You can correct me, but it has an attached power cord. And there's its transformer. And that is just an abysmal thing. And this does not do that. And it would be worth whatever cost to have a detachable cable already, do it. So now that you've seen the insides, now that I've talked about it, now that I've shown you all the inputs and outputs, I guess we need to sit down. We need to not lose this. Hold on. We need to sit down. Do I have a... Am I making you dizzy by spinning? I apologize. I'm just looking for the remote control. Fuck it. We'll use a keyboard. Old school style. I found the remote control. I have to show you the meters in front because you're all going to get excited and horny and got to put a timestamp in. But I need to put on something that's not going to get me copyright blocked. Or it's the block is the worst. But when they just take all the money away, which is only like $50 or $60, so I don't run mid-rolls. But it's still like, that would have been $50 that I would make every video I do over here. And if I do 4 of them a month, that's $200. Like, stop it, lawyers. I'll sell more CDs and vinyl than you would ever would. So I think we're going to have to put on... Hold on. Close Encounters. No. Oh, God. All right. Before I show you the gauges, let me tell you how these sound. How this sounds. These boot carts I've played many times on many amps, and I know exactly how they sound. They're actually on top of Kanto stands right now, which are like a $230 pair of stands, and they're super fucking nice. But it's irrelevant to the situation. I want to tell you how these speakers sound. These speakers on this amp are probably the best they've ever performed. And I've had the benchmark amp, the H48, whatever, the 100 watt per channel THX. And while I think that can do detail retrieval in just some sort of odd, Twilight Zone-y way, this doesn't sound like an old amplifier. That's one of the things I noticed, like with the Phase Linear or my father's Spec 2. They're older amps. Components wear out. Things get wonky. Things get softer. It's kind of like when you listen to vinyl. You listen to vinyl because you want a softer, warmer sound. You don't want the detail can happen, but really, is that why you listen to vinyl? Because if you turn up the detail on a record, you tend to get all the clicks and pops and cracks and all that other shit that's happening in there due to the format. So vintage amps is usually, oh, I want just dull everything out. And there's an X factor that I can't. I'm going to just skip quick. Don't pee that. All right. Well, this is Sublime, and this is recorded like shit. Like, you can tell when a recording is recorded like shit. That's not the amplifier. It's soft and warm and kind of nasty because that's what Sublime 40 Ounces of Freedom, a lot of those tracks sound like that. They were recorded in garages. These are not something you'd put on at an audio show. But I know that's true to the sound. I don't think this is twisting the sound like an old amp is expected to twist the sound. This is the string quartet version of... Which Tool song is that? You know what? I actually have... Let me go over here and get it. Because I had this temporary setup. If you don't watch my live streams, you didn't see it. But I was using that amp here in this table while I was doing Atmos things over there. And I whipped out my Studio 530s, which are a very inefficient set of, I think that's a 5 1/4, but barely, 4-inch driver, 5-inch driver. And I was using the amp on this plastic folding table, feeding it with the Shanling EM5. And just one of the most amazing near-field experiences you could have is these speakers. If they're still on sale on JBL.com or on Amazon, I will link them. Anyway, here are the... this, I think, is just the brochure. Yes, MOSFETs, 4-step gain control, fully balanced, external noise. Like you could, bridge mono allows upgrading to monolithic amplifiers with 720 watts into 2 ohm. So if we were to ignore 2 ohm and 4 ohm, because most speakers, even modern towers, are 6 or 8 ohm. I believe those Bucarts are 8 ohm. So you have to take that in mind. When they talk about it, if you bridge mono it, 180 watts into 8 ohms. So the whole box would be 180 watts. Does it say what it is? Yeah. 45 watts into 8 ohms in stereo mode. But it can push down to 1 ohm. Music signals only, it warns you. 360 watts per channel. Which I don't know any speaker that's 1 ohm, and if you do, you should probably call the manufacturer and tell them to fucking stop it. Yeah, here are the 2 separate amplifier blocks. Just wanted to make sure that it was 45 watts per channel. I mean, this is all very modern look. I really printed in Japan. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. 220, 230 AC plugs sold separately. 30, it's 70.3 pounds. Yeah, so I was right, 71 pounds. And here I think is the repair guide for it. Or is this the entire guide in Japanese? Yeah, this is just the entire guide in Japanese, so I don't think this is going to help us for this review. Anyway, double checking my numbers. Listening to this thing, I guess the word I would state is invisible. I know that doesn't sound like the best thing. You don't want to spend, between, I think the owner spent $3,500, got it on a real good deal, because all of those are $5,000 in Japan. So I think the owner spent like $3,000 on an amp. And if you spend that much money on something, you kind of want it to be there. You want to notice it. People who spend lots of money on a subwoofer tend to turn the subwoofer up a little bit higher than it should be because they want to know what they got for their purchase. When I drive my black car and I put all that money into the engine and the exhaust and so, I kind of want it to be a loud, big, annoying car. So I'm reminded of what I spent my money on. So what this amplifier does is it plays music so well that I don't notice its presence. I just kind of want to ignore it. I would put that over there and just give me the speakers and this black void of sound in front of me. So that was String Quartet. I want to keep playing it, but again, I fucking know I'm not going to get monetized. So thank you for supporting this channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. It's a Durara soundtrack. If you've not seen the anime Durara, do. I haven't finished it, actually. I keep stopping and saving it like next year. I'll finish it next year. It's too good. Finish it next year. But their soundtrack is fucking amazing. Yeah, no, it does things that, like, it's not otherworldly. It isn't like, oh my God, it's changing the sound. It just presents it in such a natural way. Class A, the reason people go with Class A, the audiophile, is because it's not just because it's inefficient. It's because when the Class AB has to bring the amplifiers up to make a sound, if there's a detail, a minute, minuscule detail that's in there, the Class AB amplifier is constantly trying to be not amplifying. So that minute detail might be on the waning edge of something as it's going down. It's just like, okay, no power. And it's like, ah. I mean, I'm talking about almost inaudible levels of shit, like psychoacoustic levels. And a Class A, don't give a fuck. A Class A is amplifying right now, all of it. Music's paused, it's amplifying. It's pushing all 45 watts into that speaker. There's just no signal. So if, like, you were to, like, tap an RCA in the back, immediately it would boom, boom. That's what Class A does. Class A pushes constantly, hard, heavy, you miss nothing. It also costs you money to run it, and it gets hot as fuck. Come on, give me some music that I can play. All right, I need to put on something to show you the gauges. Epic score. Epic score. Should be scanning for dead items. I didn't mean to do that. Abort. I just have to click a thing. Hold on. Epic score. By the way, over here I'm using the linear. I'm using 4.3, 4K, 30 FPS. But instead of going wide on my desk, I'm more linear, so that should all be the right shape. I just feel like I could use 2 different modes. So here, epic score. Any of these. Give me a nice long one. Hold on. No. All right. Put the subwoofer back on by just literally turning on the B channel, which when you saw back there, there's just 4 wires and there's 4 wire inputs on the Martin Logan sub, and that's it. It's just B channel, and I have to have that tuned to where I think it matches with the efficiency of these speakers. And that's the easiest way to add a sub, honestly. If that sub had a channel out, it would actually be a little detrimental, because if you would run it from the amp into the sub out into the speakers, the amplifier would still be only powering the speakers, but then the sub would be harder to click on and off. That's just B channel on, B channel off, and then we get what we're doing. I tried to pick the most Japanese wallpaper, by the way, because that's definitely not her, but Pikachu is definitely the most Japanese thing I've got. I couldn't, like, all anime is weeby Japanese stuff, but we're talking about quality Japanese stuff. All right, a little sub kicks ass. I can't keep playing music because I know it's gonna just I want monetization occasionally. So it's very hard to discuss how something sounds without me listening to it, which is why when I paused the video just now to change batteries, I spent a good deal of time listening, and I kind of want one of these. Like I'm gonna go into a little bit of a rant. It's a little rant about how things look. I should have shut it off and cleaned the dust off. How things look can affect how they sound. I know that shouldn't be a thing, but humans are stupid. We see ice cream and we want it, we put it in our mouth, and all of a sudden it's literally just recycled newspaper, and we're like, our brains just explode. Like, you know that if you go to like drop a ball, you keep dropping a ball in front of a baby, like a little innocent baby, like 6 months old. If you drop the ball and it stops midair, the baby gets confused and angry because he understands what's supposed to be happening, and when it doesn't happen, freaks the baby out. It's kind of why jokes work, and then horror movies. But I'm looking at that Accuphase sitting there with its slightly glow. I wish there was a brightness setting for the actual meters, because unless I turn off every light in this basement, it doesn't really glow. Like, it does the most gentle, like, yeah, we're here to tell you what's going on, but we're not gonna like show off. A lot of like the modern Macintosh stuff is all just blue, bright blue. This is subtle. This is Japanese. This is the cleanest look. It's one of the cleanest looking amplifiers I've ever laid my eyes on. It's just everything. There's a knob there and a button, and there's a knob there and 2 buttons, and then there's a middle button. And all they had to do was take rid of one of those double buttons, and it would have been even more even with the indicators for balanced and bridge mode. It's perfectly laid out. There's no more design than there needs to be. It's a workhorse. It's a machine. It's a machine. And looking at it, being that machine, knowing how much it weighs, having to pick it up, plug it in, that whole ritual makes it sound better in my head than it probably would do to someone who just had speakers. And, you know, a wall here, and behind that wall is where all the amplifiers and DACs and everything else goes. Having to go through the process, you know, setting up a turntable, weighing the tone arm, where's the balance point? Oh, gotta twist it, gotta do all that stuff. And this is for all of audiophilia. The more effort you have to put into something to get it right, and the more you've spent on it, the better it looks, the better it will sound. It'll just sound better. It doesn't have to actually be like if you just brought new people in and you sat them down, there was just a black sheet here, and they couldn't see any of this. They couldn't see the design of that, or the way the lights are hitting it, or the wallpaper, or the background, or the way it's lighted up. It was just a black void in the dark, and you told a person to listen to speaker A, listen to speaker setup B, listen to speaker C. You would probably get a realistic judgment of the sound qualities that they're going for. But being able to see that Accuphase sitting there makes me want one. It makes it sound better than 90% of the amplifiers I've listened to. Maybe 100% of the amplifiers I've listened to. Because even comparing it mentally, because I haven't heard back from Benchmark. I asked Benchmark for like 3 of their amplifiers, and they haven't sent me back. So they're lost, honestly, because I would love to have a pair of the Benchmark amps here, and then one in the review space for headphones. But comparing to that Benchmark, when I hit that Benchmark, the music just went super depthy, like completely invisible speakers, completely invisible everything. This is not that far off. That's the key. This is not that far off from what I heard there. Where I was expecting to get a big 70-pound Class A Japanese vintage amplifier and have it sound, I don't know how I expected it to sound, because I have like the Pioneer VSX D1S there. These Marantz are both Japanese. Those Marantz MA700 monoblocks, those are both Japanese, and they always lean towards clean. They don't lean towards big, warm, soft things. Like my father's Pioneer, the Spec 2, because it's from the 70s, it's never been recapped. That thing's 50 years old. The capacitors in it have probably started to fade, and it gives it a sound, a vintage sound. But that's not correct. Vintage sound should not be defined by soft and warm and lacking detail and just big whoa. This is a vintage sound that sounds damn close to a modern THX's bleeding edge clean amplification. Bleeding edge. That Benchmark amp I reviewed, which you could look at my channel for the Benchmark amp I reviewed, that thing is the first of its kind in the history of the world. And the fact that this old Accuphase kind of reminds me of it a little bit, it says something. It says a lot, actually. The quality of this build, from the inside, from the outside, the feel of it, the presentation of everything, and then I can compare it sorta to that amplifier. That's dumb. That's dumb as hell. That's dumb. So I'm gonna link to eBay, and if you want to pick up an A-45, go right ahead. There are no 46s currently, and frankly, after this review, there probably won't be for a long. George of the Jungle. George of the... God, I put the subwoofer on, which helps with like the depth. I could turn that off again and just be like just speakers. And I don't know how many... I had these on it. I had the JBLs on it. Did I put the... I may have... No, I haven't put those on. Because here's the thing. This isn't... All right, you know what? Hold 1 second. Hold here from the future. It's the video has already ended, but I changed speakers, and I have to put this in the middle of the video. That Zeos doesn't even know this is happening. All right, he's gonna go back to RF7s. He's gonna be like, "Oh, I love these speakers." Shut up. But I swapped them out because I convinced Triangle to leave these speakers here because I needed them in my life, and I'm like, "You leave those here." So if I'm gonna have this amp and I'm gonna compare it, if I'm gonna compare it to the Benchmark, I had to hook the triangles back up. What are you? What are you? What are these? BR09s? I had to convince them to leave the BR09s, and I did. This is the part in the middle of the video because it's over already, but I'm gonna put this in the middle of the video because time travel is possible. Haven't you seen that movie? Riffer? Sucker? I forget the name of it. But they travel back in time by crawling into a cardboard box. Rising on the I can't do didn't because it's gonna get copyright claimed matched. Anyway, these speakers are amazing. on this amp. Basement jacks. Can I play this? They're so tight and clean. Anyway, I wanted to come from the past. I needed to come from the future back into the middle of the past, so Zeos would know what's going on, because he's an idiot. That guy that's making this video is an idiot. He didn't hook these up. He had to move some anime figures to do it, and he was like too lazy. Then at the end of the video, he's like, I'm gonna do this. So then I did it because I'm the better version of Zeos. All right, me. Fuck that other guy. I'm just. See, I just want to give a shout out to the Bureau 9s. The triangles are so fucking good. And there's a fight going on now in the future, whether it's RF7s, because we got a Klipsch fanboy, and we got the people who have heard these, and like I think I prefer these over the giant Klipsch for tonality and everything. It's just they're tighter, they're so tight, and this amp just fucking exudes the tightness. I love this thing. Yeah, these are better than the BR9s for just big towers. They're just half the cost. Those are $3,600 a pair, $1,800 each. These are $1,800 a pair. These are oh fuck. All right. Before that asshole fucking realizes what I'm doing, I'm gonna all right. Shh. Just pretend. Don't tell him what I did here. Don't let him know. Just shh. I'll walk up close to this, and I'm gonna turn it on, and then he'll know. He won't know. He won't have a clue what's going on. Okay, so now I've invited Satan here to the party. So now I have a pair of Klipsch RF7s, which I think run like $3,600 a pair. You can check the link in the description. And they're efficient. See, here's the thing about big speakers. Those are 10s, and those are big horns. So little speakers like the boot carts, you have to push them more. You have to make the driver move more to move the same amount of air as a big driver goes, and then like it throws 10 inches of air. So it goes, and throws a lot of air. The littler speakers, RB42s and such, you have to fucking hammer them with power to get them to move as quickly and quickly, not just far, fast as possible. Where these are just like big lazy dogs. And this is a perfect setup for these speakers, because usually you run a tube amp with Klipsch stuff, because it's so big and so efficient that even like 8 watt per channel tube amps can perform on them. And I've run those off of those 8 watt Toxaritas devices. So now having 45 watts into 8 ohms to play with, I'm still at -12 on that amplifier's actual gain adjustment. I'm nowhere near 45 watts. That's another thing. People think, oh, I need 100 watts. No, you probably need 3 watts. 3 watts is plenty. The problem is headroom, and if you touch the volume, you get really a lot of low end. That 3 watts pulses up to 25 to 30 watts. Just split second. I need 30 watts real quick to control the driver, to move things in and out. So having 45 and only needing 10 is the secret to having good headroom and a good sounding setup. So switch this off. Let's get something a little more. Yeah, that's about as loud as you'd ever need to take it. And I'm nowhere near the top of that. And I'm still 12 dB down from that. It's an efficiency monster. Oh, I want to listen to AC/DC so bad. You gotta understand, YouTube actually, if you play AC/DC, your shit just gets not demonetized, blocked. So I used to have AC/DC in my sound demos way back in the day, back at my grandparents' house 7 years ago. And every one of those songs got removed. Every one of those videos got removed because AC/DC was in it. Then I was using the Monogatari soundtrack a lot for my sound demos, because Monogatari is amazing. And then Lawyers happened again, and that's why 200 of my sound demos went missing. If you'd like to listen to my sound demos, the ones that went missing, even the ones from way back in the day, check out my Patreon and Subscribe Star for $5 a month. This is not the outro, by the way. For $5 a month, you get into the Sound Demo Oasis, which is a Telegram channel where just the audio from all those is uploaded. So you'll hear me talking about it. You won't see anything. If that ever got popular enough and people were like demanding it, I would just upload the full videos there. I'd have to recompress them to fit in the Telegram limit or upload them to a different site. Although I don't really want to dictate with sites. Sites are... Ding, someone sees it and says, copyright claim on you, but here's a lawyer. So, I'll give you just the audio. That's perfectly fine. So, yeah, this setup, I can't AC... There's nothing... Because Australia is real close to Japan. Japan and Australia have a close knit. And then we've got AC/DC playing on big old Klipsch towers. And that just feels right. So everything about this right now feels right. To the point where I am going to really miss that amplifier. I might even hook the Marantz up, the monoblocks, because they're powerful. They're AB. They're not Class A. They don't... The tube amps are Class A because they literally can't not be. The tube isn't going to shut off every... Transistors allow the amplifier to turn on and off very, very quickly. That's how computers, calculate. But tubes are slow as fuck. So this, being Class A, is essentially like the closest a solid state can get to a tube in design, in simplicity. Bring signal in, make signal bigger, give it to thing. That's its job. And this Accuphase is doing it in probably one of the best ways I've ever heard. Like, it's just, I cannot describe it because I'm a bad reviewer. How you doing? I'm Zeos. I'm bad at my job. But you get nice waifu wallpapers, so what are you complaining about? Next track. Hold on. Oh, the Ninja Scroll soundtrack. Let's see if this gets me... Hold on. Oh, wait a second. I absolutely know this will get me fucking pulled, so never mind. That was 6 seconds. Is 6 seconds going to ruin my night? Oh, fuck. I hate reviewing speakers. I love reviewing speakers. I wish I could just play... I'm not getting copyright-free music. It all sucks. I've listened to it. Me with copyright-free music. Ren and Stimpy, You Idiot. Actually, an amazingly well-recorded, album. I'm not joking. He's joking. I'm not joking.
Oh, I get the idea.
I would demo full-on $100,000 rooms with You Idiot from Ren and Stimpy. The original Ren and Stimpy, not that remake that they fucked up real bad. Yeah, let me see. One more.
Oh,
right.
Wireless booze franchise? None? Then you need the all-new international log!
It sounds really good. This amp... I have nothing to say about this amplifier other than it looks as good as it costs and sounds as good as it looks. I don't think there's anything else you want from... I gotta work this thing some more. I don't think there's anything else you want from an amplifier, especially one that costs as much as this fucking thing, which is basically the GDP of a small country. The damn thing is a machine. I think there's my thumbnail, by the way. I'm just gonna blow that into it. And if you own one of these, congratulations. You own what I consider to be one of the best amplifiers I've ever heard. Taking the phase linear into account is that's a standard old school amplifier. That's a non-standard old school amplifier. So everyone, download your wallpaper in the description. She's not as blue as that. The blue is from me locking down the thing. Links to eBay for the results to this. If it's there, you'll know it. And then you'll probably not be able to buy it because it'll be $4,000. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I got to take this fascia off and try to repair the jiggly... Oh, fuck. The jiggly knob. Did you actually get to see the spark? These new shoes are killing me down here. And yeah, I'm done. So, if you don't like my face, then you can leave. If you do like my face, consider supporting this channel on Patreon and Subscribestar, where for $5 a month, you get to see these reviews early. Wait, can I make the...
Just tug its twig, and you'll turn your log into a talking tree!
See reviews early, participate in yard sales, Sound Demo Oasis, for $10 a month, behind the scenes private Telegram chat where I answer your questions when you just at me. I'm in there all the time. And then you also get into a private swap meet chat. So if you want to like have one of these and sell it, you would do that in there. And then don't forget to check out Hi-Fi Guides in the Hi-Fi Guides forum. Look at that shadow. Oh, the shadow's ruining it. The shadow's ruining it. Just shove this in this very hot, actively voltage monster. I did dust it, by the way, when I shut the camera off. I shut the camera off, then I shut the unit off, then I knocked the dust off. What a machine. What a machine. And this particular one, other than that broken thing, which I have to try to fix, meticulously maintained and cleaned. I'm kind of jealous. Anyway, I'm in Zeospantera. This is Z Reviews. And I'm probably going to use this in 1 or 2 more reviews before I send it back. Just because I need to power some stacks. And guess what I have? The IESL, which takes a speaker amp. And guess what I have? This speaker amp. So, thank you. I hope I haven't been too rambling and drunk and crazy. And I'll see you all in the next one. Good night.